Good evening. We're going to wait just a minute or two while students get logged in and clicked in. Thank you for joining us. We are excited to have you here for our overview on the Center for Civic Engagement. My name is Carrie Feierabend. I'm one of our admissions counselors here at Binghamton University, and I'm joined by a couple students here from the Center for Civic Engagement, as well as Allison Twang, who is the one of the directors for the CCE, and my colleague Stephanie Swim, another admissions counselor. So Steph, I'm going to turn it over to you. We're all going to introduce ourselves really quickly, and then we'll get started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. So happy to be here. My name is Stephanie Swim. I am also an admissions counselor here at Binghamton, but I'm also an alum. So, I have a lot of know-how on both ends. Tonight, my role will be handling the Q&A. So if you guys have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to utilize that function at the bottom of your screen. Also, look out for the chat. I will be sending some pertinent links and information in the chat that you can copy and paste and kind of note for further research and just to have. So definitely take advantage of that. Keep your eyes open and take advantage of any questions you may have during the presentation.
So my name is Max, and I'm a sophomore studying social system science through Harper College's Individualized Major program.
And Shelly?
Hi, everyone. My name is Shelly. I'm a senior studying math, and I'm excited to tell you about my experience at Binghamton a little later.
Thanks, Shelly. And last but not least, Allison, I'm going to turn it over to you. You can introduce yourselves and then go ahead and kick it off, and we'll hide until later. You'll hear from all of us throughout the presentation here.
All right, thanks so much, Carrie. And I'm Allison Twang. I'm the Associate Director at our Center for Civic Engagement on campus. So I'm going to be doing just a quick overview of our office to talk a little bit more about the resources that we have available for students. Hopefully everyone can see my screen now, but the majority of our presentation today is going to be focused on Max and Shelly sort of sharing their perspectives about being involved in civic and community engagement on our campus. So to start off with, who are we at the Center for Civic Engagement? We are the primary office on campus that helps to connect students to opportunities to get involved in our community, especially locally in the Broome County area, and to help students create change that they want to see in the world, make an impact, and really develop as active citizens. You can see from our mission statement that we really focus on partnerships that strengthen our local community, and on programs that help develop our students as active and engaged citizens. We do this in a variety of different ways. We generally help to promote service opportunities to students, ways that they can volunteer and get involved in our local community. We run some of our own volunteer programs. So those are great for students who maybe are looking for a little bit more help navigating the opportunities that are available to them. They're able to meet with someone in our office and we can help get them set up with one of our established community partners. And we do have transportation available for some of those programs, which is a great option for many of our students who don't bring a car with them to campus. We also support faculty who teach courses that have a service component embedded within them. And then we also do a lot of work helping our students get registered to vote and participate in the democratic process. We have a nationally recognized nonpartisan student voting program, and Shelly will be talking more about her experience with that program later on. We also generally help to support students who might be looking to develop their own project and provide sort of consulting services to students as well as to community partners to help them get connected with campus resources. So I wanted to give kind of a quick overview of the many ways that students can get involved. If this is, something that's of interest to you, that you want to make civic and community engagement a part of your time at Binghamton, there's a lot of different pathways that students can take. Many students are familiar, with the concept of volunteering in the community. I expect many of you probably have experience doing that in high school or in younger years. There's lots of opportunities to continue that at Binghamton if it's something that's important to you. We also, as I mentioned, offer these community engaged learning courses, or service learning courses might be another term that you're familiar with. These are courses that are offered in every college at Binghamton, and they're really, taking the academic content that you're learning in the classroom and connecting it back to a community-based project, where you're working, under the advisement of a faculty member and really building those bridges between academic knowledge and real life skills, all while making an impact and a difference in our community. We also have hundreds of student organizations, many of whom have an explicit service-related mission or do service as part of their sort of team building and development activities for their members. So that can really be an opportunity to, take on more of a leadership role in your service and, gain new valuable skills that way. Opportunities for students to help their friends and peers get registered to vote and turn out to vote. And then we also do offer some internship opportunities with local organizations, including some that are credit bearing for students. So it's a great way if you want to get academic credit and sort of bring in, again, some of these civic and community skills. There's a really great way to do that, and lots more opportunities. And I think it's also worth noting that while the CCE is a main resource for these opportunities on campus, you can find them really all across the university, which is really great. We like to see that lots of student organizations, offices, and departments really value this work and provide these opportunities for our students. It is something that is a big priority for Binghamton University. And we know that there are so many benefits, not only to our community, but also to our students. I often hear students talk about the value of being able to get out of that sort of campus bubble and build those connections within the community that can be so valuable to just sort of enriching their time in college and making sure that they're getting the most out of their Binghamton experience. Also a great way for students to kind of explore what they're interested in, what their passions are. That could be something that could help them, in their career growth, or, something that is going to be, on the side, a volunteer project that's sort of adding to the rest of their college experience. But we also know that through these types of service experiences, students are able to develop really valuable transferable skills, things like communication, teamwork, problem solving. So regardless of the sort of career path that they're on, we see a lot of benefits for students sort of across the spectrum with these types of experiences. And we also, really value the importance of civic and community involvement, and really see college as a time for students to sort of further their, involvement in the community and really develop their citizenship skills. So that's kind of our quick overview of the opportunities that are available. We'd love to get to know you all a little bit before we get started with our student presentation. So you should see a couple of poll questions up on the screen right now. We'd love to hear how involved you are in community service right now. Maybe you're someone who's really involved in volunteering regularly, maybe just on occasion, maybe not that involved once or twice a year, or maybe you don't volunteer at all right now. Go ahead and answer that question, and then we'll show the results. And then our second question, are you registered to vote? Yes, no, not sure. Sometimes we fill out forms and don't remember what they are, so that's okay. And some of you might not be eligible to register to vote yet. So we'll give everyone a second to respond to those questions, and then we can show the results. All right, great. So it looks like about 70% of us are very involved, which isn't surprising because I'm sure if you came to this session, it's because you're interested in volunteering and community service. But we do have some folks, about 20%, who are not that involved. 40% are already registered to vote. That's awesome. We love to see that. 40% not eligible yet to register. That is something that when you arrive at Binghamton, we will help you get registered to vote. So for those of you who are going to be entering in the fall semester, we will be available during the student connection days, the in-person days for orientation. So if you need to get registered to vote or to change your registration to Binghamton, we'll be available to help with that. So I think that's all the content that I wanted to share to kind of get us started. I am going to pass things over to Shelly next to share her experience.
Hi, everyone. So Allison said, I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with civic engagement on campus. So when I came to campus, most of my involvement in volunteering was through the Jewish community in high school and when I was younger. And when I came to campus, that was like my initial involvement was like through the Jewish community, doing programming, other types of student organizations through that. And as I went further into my college experience, I actually took one of those courses that Allison mentioned that had that service portion called Foundations of Civic Engagement. And that class really affected me and my outlook on life and my perspective and the things that I wanted to do in the Binghamton community. And I started to think about how I wanted to be involved in the Binghamton community and the student community and also the communities after I graduated. And that's when I got involved with the Vote Everywhere Ambassadorship Program, which is through the Andrew Goodman Foundation, which is a nonpartisan organization that works to reduce student barriers to voting. And I began this basically in the summer and have been doing it over the course of this year. And I have been part of that team that's been registering students to vote, helping students understand where they can vote, how they can vote, help them filling out their registration forms, helping them fill out absentee ballot applications and things like that. And I'm so thankful I took that course because it really pushed me to get involved in things that I find really rewarding today. It also encouraged me to intern at the food pantry, which is something else that I was involved in on campus as well. And I ended up taking another course as well with that same professor called Philanthropy and Civil Society, which I'm taking right now, where we get $10,000. We get a grant. The class learns about philanthropy by actually doing philanthropy. So we get to evaluate organizations and decide where we want to give this money within the local community. So this is one of the reasons why I love Binghamton so much. It's because of these academic courses. You know, I'm a math major, but I was also able to explore other interests of mine. And I was really able to apply the things that I learned in the classroom to these other internship, ambassadorship programs that I was doing outside of the classroom, which was really, really awesome. And now when I think about what I want to do after graduation, I'm hoping to do similar work. And I'm so happy that I was able to really get involved in this civic engagement in college because, you know, I've been able to develop my skills and really prepare myself for the workforce. So I'm going to pass it over to Max to talk a little bit about his experience.
Yeah, hey Zoom. Hey y'all. Glad I'm getting to speak to you. Thank you, Shelly, for the introduction and transition. That's the word. So again, like I said, my name is Max. I'm a sophomore majoring in social system science through Harper College's individualized major program. And I've been really lucky here in Binghamton to be really involved in community engagement, just with some awesome community organizations in this area. And when I came into college, what I really wanted to do is to learn how I could be a better leader, how I can make a positive impact on the world around me, and really just how I can create lasting change. My background is mostly politics, change making, that's the stuff that excites me. And when I came into my freshman year, I stumbled upon this thing called the Public Service Learning Community. It's this really cool community in Hinman College, where basically a bunch of people who really care about community service and making the world around them better live together and do cool stuff together. But more on that later. And in my freshman year, I just kept getting involved in really cool opportunities, such as the Center for Civic Engagement's Leaders in Engagement, Advocacy and Democracy. It's hard to remember. Or LEAD program, and the Binghamton University's Emerging Leaders program. And basically what I did here is I did two things. One, I learned kind of through, like Shelly and Allison are mentioning, through community engagement service learning courses, like the class with Professor Campbell, Foundations of Civic Engagement, that I was also in. This idea of what the professor called how to do good well, how to make a considered impact on the world. And I was also able to get out there and make that impact. And something unique about my volunteering experience, as in it's just something that I never really thought that I would learn there, is the really huge and amazing power of partnership and doing more than just serving soup at a soup kitchen sometime or helping out when you get the chance or picking up trash, which is awesome in and of itself. And I think anyone who does that is really great. But what was really cool about these programs that I was in is that they challenged me to be involved long-term. So what I did is working with this really cool local partner organization that we have north of Maine. And you can see, and I'm not in the picture. Oh, I kind of am. On the bottom left there, you can see my friend Tim and I, we were getting donations for a Thanksgiving food drive we planned for north of Maine to basically to distribute like non-perishable Thanksgiving themed items to the community there because they do battle with a lot of issues like poverty, hunger, and homelessness there. So we really thought this would be a great way to support them. And on the bottom right is another part of what I was doing, which is after I kind of got a chance to learn about this community organization, I spent a lot of time like learning what their goals were, what like where they can use support, what challenges they were going through, and really just what they wanted to do in their community, how they wanted to transform it. And I learned they can really use student volunteers. So what I did is I became basically like a student coordinator, volunteer coordinator, like a liaison between the public service learning community students at Binghamton and north of Maine. And I was helping get volunteers there every week during the second semester and part of my first semester of my freshman year. And it was just so cool because as I kept working with this organization, I kept seeing the impact I make just continue to exponentially increase because I just kept learning what their goals were, what they were trying to do more and more. And as a result, I was able to support them increasingly. And this year I kept being involved. I'm a sophomore now. And I chose to be involved in my local college council, my college council, the Hinman College Council, where I'm now, as you can see, the word stands in my name, the vice president of service on it for HCC. It's been pretty hard to do stuff this year because of COVID and all that, but we've still been able to do a couple of really cool projects with North of Maine. And as you can see on top, we actually coordinated a donation of a bunch of toys, I think it was like $400 worth, to a different community center, the Lee Barta Community Center, because we saw that there were a lot of kids there who just didn't have toys to play with, like around this time, well, it was during the holidays, around that time of the year. And really what all of these things have coalesced around is my experience in the public service learning community, which I'm going to tell you about right now. So this is a really, really unique opportunity, honestly, like my favorite thing that I've done. In Binghamton, like I was saying a little bit before, it's a bunch of students, a whole floor of students living together who really have a lot of the same interests, the same kind of goals, but like all from like different very diverse backgrounds. And it was psych people here, neuroscience people here, sociology, political science, theater, name it. And we all live together. And what we do is we take these service learning courses, we do workshops, service activities like these, we read books together, and we do service trips, we volunteer in our own time. And we learn how to, like I was saying before, how to do good well, how to really make an impact like right now in Binghamton and just in our future, like throughout our careers. And as an example, just a month ago, we had one of the public service learning community alumni, Senegal, who actually worked with Barack Obama. He always flexes that he has his number, which I'm pretty jealous about. He was just telling us about how we can really use our voices to have an impact on our communities. And really, this is just such a unique opportunity that I really encourage everyone who is, well, a lot of people who are going into Binghamton to consider applying for. And I think did we already send out the website? That's the website. If you want to learn more about the public service learning community, you can learn more on that website. It is a really great opportunity, and I'm going to be the resident assistant for it next year. So I'll be the one running events and doing cool stuff in this community. And it's a really awesome time. And if it's okay with you, Carrie, Stephanie, can I send my email there also if anyone has questions on that?
Yes, of course, Max, no problem.
Cool. Yeah, but this is definitely like one of the favorite things I've done here, and I highly, highly recommend it. Yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Max. So I think that's where we're at. If we can have all our panelists come back. We have time for about 5 minutes for questions. If you have any questions specifically for Max, for Shelley, for Allison, or for us about admissions or about that public learning community, there are lots of opportunities. I know that we have some admitted students here. We have some students who are still thinking about where to apply. Maybe you're a junior and you're just kind of starting to do your research. I know having these student voices is very, very helpful for us. So I guess one of your favorite things, Max and Shelley, while we're waiting for a couple questions, what is one of your favorite things outside of the classroom at Binghamton that you haven't already talked about? I know, Max, you talked about that public learning community, and that's wonderful. Or maybe it's an academic tidbit that you can kind of share as a nugget while you're thinking of things.
Or something. I'm just laughing because if I bring this up around my friends, they have a reaction like, oh, he's going to talk about it. Like, I'm going to talk about it. We have a really cool thing where you can make your own major. in Harper College. And the way I encountered it was I was thinking if I should go to an event and there's some office. And I was like, oh, they're pretty cool, I guess. And now I work there as a programs associate at Harper Edge. They work to give an edge to all Harper College students. They're really awesome. And I was like, I'm really tired. So I go to this event about something called the Individualized Major Program, or do I take a nap? It was a really hard decision. And I went to the event. It turns out I thought it was a really cool idea because I was a sociology major originally, but also what I was interested in is social systems. Kind of like why, when we look at political institutions, organizations, why do we keep having different people in power, but the same things happening over and over? Like, what are these powerful forces? How do these systems work? And I felt that I can benefit from just having other disciplines there too. So I had an amazing academic advisor, Alex, and a lot of the professors that I met, like up to that point, helped me make my own major. And now I have my own major. And that's an opportunity not everyone knows exists in Binghamton. And honestly, I think it's kind of, I know other universities have similar stuff, but like what was really cool for me is because like I really got to have like really close intimate relations with my professors, where they really are mentors to me, especially through the public service learning community and those special community engaged and service learning courses we took. I was able to just reach out to them like, hey, Professor Yoon, like, or Professor Campbell, like, can I just talk to you about this idea? Like you mentioned, the importance of looking at how an individual can make like big changes in a system. I'm thinking making a major around this. Like, what do you think about this? Like, what other classes can you recommend to me? And they were so helpful. So I just love how like attentive professors were here, helping me make this dream of mine come true. Now I have my own major.
That's so great, Max. Thank you so much. I know that IMP program is something that I don't think all students know about. It's a very helpful tidbit. Shelley, anything that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I want to build off that point because I feel like it's so important that like, I don't think it's just true within like the, PPL, which is our philosophy, politics, and law programs. I think it's across all majors that professors are really there and willing to help students and willing to take time outside of class to help you if you're struggling. Like for me, like I'm a math major, so there's always a problem that I might get stuck on, and professors are willing to take that time to explain it to you. Go to their office hours. They always have, some usually more than the minimum for you to go in, and they will really be there for you to talk about your career plans, to talk about even just math. Like they'll just go like right on the whiteboard, and you'll do some tangent that's kind of related to the class just to spark your interest and make sure that like you are really being stimulated intellectually.
Well, thank you both. Yeah, what was that, Max?
I'm just saying I totally agree. My professors are just like so awesome.
Yeah, I think something about Binghamton. I know a lot of students say everyone's very approachable, and that's not necessarily something you get at all colleges. So the approachability, the opportunity, I think all of that makes Binghamton quite a wonderful place. I think we all think so. So again, I want to thank you all for coming on. We wanted to keep this short and sweet. Didn't want to take too much of your evening up, but I really want to thank Allison and Max and Shelley for joining us from CCE, for sharing your experiences. Again, I know it's so important for both of our admitted students and those prospective students to hear your stories and what it's like to be a real student at Binghamton and what you guys are doing with your time. I know our students fill their time to the brim here, but you guys feel like it's even more so, cram those hours, which is wonderful. Thanks, Stephanie, for being on and helping out with that Q&A. And I think we've about wrapped it up here. So if you do have any other questions, you can always email us. Maybe Stephanie can put that in the chat. It's admit, ADMIT, @binghamton.edu. And I don't know, Allison, if you guys have a CCE email that we can put in there as well, just in case any students have any questions. You can always reach out to us for admissions. You can reach out to the CCE. And I'm going to hop off quickly, but I'm going to let Stephanie stay on just a couple more minutes in case anyone has any other questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Carrie. So it looks like you guys are a little bit shy tonight, but we did have a couple questions I was able to answer in the back end. I've done a couple of sessions with folks from the CCE, and they're always obviously amazing people and very giving people with information. I would like to know a bit more, and I think that this is something that we get a lot about the CCE in terms of what are some fun events that are attached to the CCE that you guys are excited about that hopefully are getting back to normal this year? And can we are those things that happen every year? Or is there new things coming up? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. We do have a lot of hopes and plans for the fall semester to be able to do more in-person service opportunities. That's obviously been a little bit more limited this year, but as Max shared in his photos, we have had students, masked up and safely doing community service this year as well. So I would say some things that we are looking forward to in the fall semester, definitely Election Day, even during local election years, is a big celebration day for us. So we are really looking forward to helping students get registered to vote and turning out to vote in person next year. And we are also hoping to bring back our big community service fair that we offer in October. That's a great opportunity for students to connect with local organizations to find volunteer opportunities. And I'll also mention, not really an event, but a larger initiative for us is our school-based volunteer program that's called the Youth Initiative. We still have had some students going in person this year despite COVID, but we are really looking forward to having even more students volunteering in person with our school partners. In a normal year, we can place around 400 students a year through that program. So it is a really significant program that's making a big difference for our students and for our local schools.
Oh, great. Thank you. We do get this one a lot as well when we talk. Students always want to know about our living communities because Binghamton's so unique. And I just think that the way that they're set up is just very specific to Binghamton. But I always love to kind of expand on our learning communities. If we could just maybe have Max or any one of our panelists tonight kind of explain what the learning communities are about and how that's related. I know we talked about Hinman Public Service Learning Community, and that's always one that comes up. But if we could just kind of explain to our attendees here tonight what that means at Binghamton and how they can take advantage of that.
Yeah, totally. I turned off my camera to run and get my Hinman sweatshirt. There's a lot of community pride here. Hinman's awesome. I'm very biased. But what the learning communities are is, your background's Hinman, I win. And my background is my dorm in Hinman. I think a good way to describe learning communities is just a bunch of students apply and they live together and they do a bunch of activities, usually like centered around like classes they take. Like one like extra class this semester. Like they do like individual work with professors as well to kind of like learn about a specific topic. So we have a public service one, I think we have a nursing one, we have an engineering one, business one, we have a scholars program, but that's separate. Like around these like different themes, and each community has their own Hinman doing all of them. And you can choose to live in one. And I just really like the opportunity to live in the public service learning community because I'm living with students that are still like from very, very different backgrounds here. Again, like so many different majors here, but also people who really care about a lot of the same stuff that I care about. Because for me, like this is so cheesy, but I'm gonna say my learning doesn't stop. Like when I leave the classroom, like I'm able to have so many awesome conversations with people, like on my floor and just like make really good friends with them. Like talking with them in passing or at like workshops we have. So I can mainly just speak on my own, but I know people really like the other learning communities too. And there's definitely a really unique opportunity. You get to work closely with a collegiate professor of that community and get to know them really well. So. Yeah.
And I'll just mention quickly another that may be of interest, and I see that Stephanie's putting the list of all of them in the chat. The College in the Woods has a politics, law, and society learning community. So I think, again, for students who might be interested in civic engagement more broadly, that's also a really great learning opportunity. The collegiate professor there, Steve Ortiz, is awesome. And that learning community does a lot around voter engagement.
Thank you so much, both. And just really quickly, because I want to be respectful of everybody's time, and we are kind of at the middle of the hour here. We do have a question about if you have to live in a certain community to be involved in these learning communities that are within that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe so. You can be affiliated and get involved in any of the learning communities without having to be living in the residential community that's there. Am I right about that, Max?
What were you saying? Can you repeat what you said, the last part?
So we have a student asking do you have to apply to live in a certain community or is your choice guaranteed? And maybe that means in terms of, that could be more of a housing question now that I'm looking at it again.
Yeah, Yeah, if you're specifically referring to learning communities, you apply and you give an application. Like the public service learning community one, you can find the Google form in the website. They'll send in the chat. It's like 3 questions. But you should give a good answer for them, just asking about your past experiences. It's not guaranteed, but a big, very niche type of students apply for them. So there's a good chance if you're applying for it, you're looking at it, maybe you're already a good pick. For just getting into different like living communities in general, as in like Hinman, Newing, College in the Woods, Dickinson, Mountain View, something else. That's also, it just depends on what time slot you got for like when you're getting, for when you're doing that. So not guaranteed, but you should apply to learning communities if you think you're a good fit. You probably are.
Yes. And there's a whole housing selection process. We have a lot of videos on ResLife on our site, pre-recorded sessions that you can check out that really details how that process works. We always get questions about that, so definitely check that out. But yes, so we're gonna end now, but definitely take advantage of the pre-recorded sessions. We have several sessions on the CCE, as well as ways to get involved on campus, again, on our Binghamton admissions visit page. So check that out. This session may be available after our ops teams cleans up all these sessions for you guys coming up. So do your research, take advantage of that. And we're always here and accessible to help if you have any questions. So definitely kind of peruse the site, see what we have available, watch those videos, sign up for some live sessions coming up. And, we really appreciate you guys being here tonight. So thank you, Allison. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you, Max, for being here. You guys were awesome. And I hope everybody has a great evening. Take care.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.